everybody. Wait, Dezirae, are we rolling?
Yeah.
Awesome. Hello and welcome, everybody. You may applaud now. I want to play a game, an improv game. Tonight's theme is the Masquerade Show, so welcome one and all to the Please Clap Masquerade Show. Thank you for coming. If you're not familiar with our group, we are an all-inclusive improv club. Anyone's welcome to come. You don't need any experience, any skills. God knows we don't. So anyway, if you want to see more of our stuff, feel free to drop by Mondays, Thursdays, 8 to 10 p.m. in the Global Commons Media Room. Also, feel free to follow us, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Pretty much always just Please Clap Improv. Thank you so much for coming out. Come on in, everybody. Come on in, you just got here just in time. So, for our first game of the night, we're going to be playing art class with Liam, Matt, Sela, Matt, and Ben. Here we go. As they set that up, I'll explain this little game for everybody. Art class is a game where we actually took some inspiration from Second City, which visited earlier this year. And the way this game works is we will get a random prompt from the audience. Ben, who is our art teacher, is going to monologue about that prompt. It could be anything. It could be surfing. It could be ducks, whatever. And while Ben monologues, all of our artists are going to draw what that prompt means to them. It's going to be different for everybody. Then once everyone's ready, we will see what each person drew, and they'll talk a little bit about what that drawing means to them. So, as this is improv, per improv tradition, we will be going to the audience for our suggestions. We're putting a lot of trust in you. I'm just going to pick the first thing we hear, as long as it is relatively appropriate. Just make sure you're not saying things like proper nouns like Obama or Elmo or Chili's. Just make sure it's kind of general stuff, and we will take that suggestion to prove that we are making it up on the spot, and that we can do improv with anything. So, what do we want to see an art class about?
Dragons.
Dragons! Your prompt is dragons. You know what to do.
Welcome, welcome, class. Thank you. Take your seats. You're already there. But just, welcome once again to night school. Now, I know many of you would like to know how to slay a dragon. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Thank you. Star students right here, this one. Now, you all are squires currently, trying to graduate your examinations to become a knight, but I've been out there, I've been in the field. You may know me as Sir Lancelot. The thing you need to know about fighting dragons is, it's just dangerous. Alright, dragons, they are feral, savage beasts. There was this one dragon in particular. His name was the Big One. That's how you know he was dangerous, because he was really big. Now, the Big One was particularly deadly. I came up to his cave at the top of a mountain set upon a golden hoard, as dragons do. You know that from chapter 3, page 63. Dragons, they sit upon their gold, and I walked up, and I had my big, great sword in hand, ready to slay the Big One, to challenge it in a humble duel and save the kingdom and the gold. A very noble task indeed, if I do say so myself. But the Big One, they don't name it that for nothing. It stood straight up on its two hind legs and looked down at me, 100 feet tall, me but a speck beneath it. And I just sat there, and I thought, oh shit, oh, that's a big one. Me with what to that dragon was basically a toothpick in hand. I charged it valiantly, and it just swatted its claw across the ground and punted me into a column and knocked me out cold for 3 days. I awoke at dawn on the third day, and when I came to, the gold, it was so bright, it was like the sun. It was that bright. And the dragon was just still watching me. from atop its golden plunder. And I just thought to myself, well, I'm pretty screwed. I don't have a weapon. This dragon is 100 feet tall. I've been knocked out cold for 3 days. I'm probably not at the top of my game. So, here's the thing you need to know, students, is that dragons, they may be big, they may be terrifying, and it may be noble to slay them. But the real way to defeat a dragon, one so deadly as the big one, is that it's about diplomacy. I woke up at dawn on the 3rd day, and I said, "Hoy, dragon!" And it looked down at me, and I said, "Would it be all right if I split the gold share with you 25-75? That way I could return to my king with some of his treasure plundered, and you could sit upon in this golden hoard, not murder me." And the dragon, it looked down at me, and it just scooted some gold across the floor, and I took it back to the kingdom, and I was hailed a hero. And that's how you know me, the story of Sir Lancelot. So, students, that's what dragon means to me. That is my story of slaying the dragon. But when you want to slay a dragon, it may not be about diplomacy. Sir Robert, what have you drawn for me?
Well, you see, I must confess. You see, when I first heard you mention dragon, I thought you meant the action and not the animal. So I decided to confess to something that happened, something dark in my history. So, you see, I met up with a friend of mine who I had some very harsh words with. Yes, I said his mother smelled of elderberries, and I called his mother a hamster.
Oh,
And
very rude.
so what happened was that he and I, late one night, we met up, to apologize after it happened. And I thought, oh, he wants to do something more. So earlier in the night, I set up an archer to snipe him on my signal. And so I had no idea that he actually did want to apologize. I thought, oh, he wants to insult me more. So as soon as he apologized, I was like, oh, go away, like discreetly. And sadly, that was the signal for him to take the shot. And so now, an hour later, you can see me dragging his body away from the castle grounds so he wouldn't be caught. And you know where I took him? To the dragon's den. So I could just give him the story, oh, a dragon ate him. And that is how I hid the body in a dragon's den.
I feel like I should be telling King Arthur about this. It sounds highly unethical.
He don't need to know.
Yeah, but I know. This is nice.
And you don't need to tell him.
Okay.
Or I have a sniper around here as well.
Can diplomacy work with you too?
Be careful with what you say.
Okay. Well, Squire Aaron, what have you drawn for me today?
Oh, buddy, do I have a story for you.
Oh,
Once
okay.
upon a
I hope you do.
Once upon a midnight dreary, I was working alone on my farm, when all of a sudden, the big evil farm dragon appeared out of nowhere and went all wah! Like it was spitting fire out. It was a real bad time. Like mom and son woke up. It was really annoying. So I was like, all right, honey, getting that pitchfork. You guys run. And that they did. I got my pitchfork out and I was like, this pitchfork. Rah, 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 rah. Don't you go dragoning on the farm dragon. And then the farm dragon just wasn't having any of it. So I was like, care to bargain? And then the farm dragon just stopped going all wah, wah. And then it was like, okay.
See, it works. It's incredible.
Yeah, and I told the farm dragon, I told him this. I'll give you exactly 16 stacks of the finest hay in all of Castle Land. And he said, that's exactly what I've been needing for my farm. I have everything I need, livestock, space, fencing, actual housing. It's really hard to get like farm dragon housing because they're really long. So they can't really fit into like normal houses on farms. So he got that, but all that he was missing was the hay. And so then I was like, you know what? I got hay to spare. So I'll give you 16 piles of hay. The farm dragon took the 16 piles of hay and went away, never disturbed my farm again.
But another incredible example of diplomacy, forming a dragon. Isn't that incredible? Now, well, what do you have for me?
Okay, so
Well, that's quite a striking drawing, really.
the inspiration for my drawing began with the words night school, as in I used to be a student who took late night classes in scuba diving.
Yes, we have invented scuba here in Camelot.
And, you know, so I was just chilling underwater one night, and then these couple of sharks just started swimming around me, and I didn't panic at first. I was like, oh yeah, I know these guys. Like, these guys are from Finding Nemo. So at first I was like, I was like kind of calm. I was like, fish are friends, not food. That did nothing. So then I started to panic a little bit, and I was like, hello, Bruce, I never knew my father either. And that did nothing. So I started panicking and swimming. And I get to the surface, and I'm like splashing around. These sharks, they're coming for me. And it's like the middle of the night. The boat has driven off somewhere. I don't know where I am. And for some reason I'm alone, because apparently you scuba dive alone. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this dragon comes and picks me up. Yeah, my magical dragon buddy, Stuart. That's what I like to call him.
Sounds very polite.
Yeah. He just came and just kind of casually scooped me up and then breathed fire at the sharks from his nostrils. And you know, he had a saddle on his back, and we just soared off into the moonlight, and it's very romantic, and wish I had somebody to share it with in that moment, but.
Yeah, dragons are famously very, very gentle.
Very gentle, yes.
Except for the big one, apparently.
So, I would like to end my story with a little motto of, don't slay the dragons, befriend the dragons, and then take your significant others on dragon rides on the first date.
Yes, again, it's a third testimony to how finding dragons is not the answer. Now, sir, I don't know any more of the Knights of Camelot, but sir, whatever your name is, very nice drawing here. What have you got for us?
So when I was a little boy, my mommy used to tell me stories about Dylan the Dapper Dragon and Mr. the Magic Mouse. And so I'll give you the very short version because she would tell me it for hours. But Dylan the Dapper Dragon just wanted a friend. And one day, Mr. the Magic Mouse wandered into his little cave, and he was frightened by the big bad dragon. And so what ended up happening was Mr. kept bringing Dylan at first he brought him a mushroom, and then he brought him some moss, but all Dylan really wanted was a friend, and had no way to express that to Mr.
I relate to Dylan sometimes.
I'm sorry.
So it's okay. It's lonely being a knight.